Hey guys, it's another video of me building things. Basically I'm making the Eyes Christmas present, and we're likely gonna actually release this like after Christmas so that I don't ruin it for her, so no telling anyone. Safety first. I am now safe. Let us begin the Christmas building. Got it. Oh god, my screwdrivers are all the way over there. Back in a moment. Whoop. Let's do that. If you're wondering what that is, that's the new screen that's going to be going into this Game Boy Advance. But I just have to be very careful with it because it is relatively delicate. And if I break it, then I'm kind of ruined. I did get two just in case I would break it. But it would be nice if I could actually use the second one on a Game Boy Advance for myself someday. So let's hope that I'm an intelligent young man and that I don't just basically break everything. Boop. There we go. Out come the screws. Brilliant. There we go. Doop. 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 Sweet. This, I'm going to leave that little piece of metal on there for now, just because I want to make sure that I move it across right. Fiddly. Whoop. There we go. Sweet. And then all of the buttons fall off, which is pretty much how it goes. So I'm going to keep the buttons there. In other news, if you guys want to know how I've been alright. It's been really cold, in fact, actually, here in the UK. Yesterday, I got rained on a crap ton. So at the moment, it's quite nice because I just finished putting my jeans onto like a drying cycle in the washing machine. So it's really warm in here, which is quite comfortable. Buttons. New buttons can go there. And then, brilliant. Buttons. I think I got her custom buttons as well, I think. So she should get those too. But we'll see if I need any of these things. Boop. We'll need the power switch. That's important, or else turning it on is going to be a bit of a difficulty. Sweet. So that's the easiest that I actually found that to do, to disassemble it so that I've only got this bit. As you can tell, I'm actually getting good. So it's going to be pretty similar to the previous build. With the previous build, if you haven't seen that video, I basically made it so that the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Color, had a rechargeable battery. So I'm going to be taking the battery connections off and then putting all of it into the metal housing. It should be relatively easy to do. So we'll get straight to that. Time for the fire. Fire torch. Fire torch. Right. So if you're wondering what I've got the fire torch for, the fire torch is to take off the two battery connectors and then it should be all good to go. So we'll just wait for it to heat up, and I'll jump cut to later when I'm actually gotten them off. There we go. So that's one out. There we go. Right, so it worked eventually. There we go. So that's them out on that side as well. I think we're just going to need to do a little bit of cleaning up there to get rid of some of the dirt there. There we go. And then I'm just going to need to clean up some of the brown stuff there. So that's like flux, which helps everything flow out when I was using this stuff to get rid of most of the solder. So I'm just going to need to clean that off real quick. If you never seen me do this before, of course, I haven't modded a lot of things. So I kind of know where I'm going, but I still need a guide to tell me where to go. Welcome back from the cut. So now we're going to start working on the front of the enclosure, basically. So we got to put some stuff into it. So I got to get that absolutely done perfectly. So the first thing we got to do is get the buttons in. Now, of course, I wanted to have something that was a bit Christmassy, but also a bit familiar. So a couple of years back, I made the Eye a custom PSP. Nothing too major. It was mainly just like taking an existing PSP or a few broken ones and putting them together to make one that worked. So it ended up working out really cheap, and then loading it up with a few of the games that I had from my PlayStation network. So mainly Final Fantasy VII, because she'd never played that Final Fantasy before. And that was, I can't remember, I think that was either last year or it was a couple of years ago, one of the two. That sound was my computer saying that it is now going to go to sleep, but was still very scary. Because essentially these bits, much like on the Game Boy Color before, will actually give me the buttons and how they all work. And I just got to check which way they go in. I think this one I already know which way it goes in. It will go in that way, because that's where that hole goes. But this only has one hole, so it could go that way. I have a feeling it goes this way. Yes, I am correct. Sweet. So let's put the display in, which might mean actually having to take some of these out. So the display is actually a different display, so I had to use a different guide for it, because I was going to use the same sort of screen that I used on the Game Boy Color, which is called an AGS 101, so it's like a backlit screen for a Game Boy Advance SP. But for this, I'm going to use an IPS display by Funny Playing. I'll pop the link in the description. It's meant to look a lot better. It has a slightly bigger viewing angle though, so you need to get specific sized screen lenses, of which I got some, and I'll show you what they look like compared to the original. But what we're going to need to do for now is get the display, which I've put back into this box to protect it. And we're going to need to attach it to a bracket, which Nick from Boxy Pixel gladly sent us. So we'll absolutely do that. So this kind of goes on the opposite side, it looks like, to the cable. So it goes down here. And then I've just got to stick the display to it. So I'm going to get some double-sided tape, which I have, and just stick it down. I could use super glue. I don't think it's a good idea to use super glue though. Scissors. So I'd better like this present, because this is actually really difficult. There we go. Right. Okay, I assume it goes this way. If I get it wrong, I'm gonna have fun trying to get this off without damaging the screen. There we are. That looks about right. So basically, it sits inside with this on it. Yay! I did it. It's in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really quickly take out the buttons, even though I just put them in, just to see how it looks from the front. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that looks as it should be. There we go. So now the next step is to put some wires together on this. Now, the last time I did anything with wires, it ended very, very poorly and took me ages to do. And that was for the wires to control the backlight on the Game Boy Color. However, this is the Game Boy Advance. I should be good at this. Now, I'm going to need a different torch. I don't need this fire torch, which is good because it's finally cooled down. I'm going to need a different fire torch. So I'm going to go and get said different fire torch, and I'll be back after this cut. Different fire torch, which uses electrical fire, which is brilliant. Everyone likes electric fire. We're going to be attaching some cables to where it says L and R and select, and we're going to be putting those cables onto bits of the Game Boy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the cables hilariously long, because then that way it's really easy for me to make it shorter afterwards, rather than making it what I think would be a good length and then ending up feeling really dumb about it later. So I think the colors I'm going to go for, just because it makes the most sense, is purple will be select, and then red will be right, and blue will be left, and then it should be good to go. Got my solder. I think that should be hot now. Whoop. There we go. Well, it's making sound as if it's hot, but the problem is it's not really, really hot, which I think is perfect for what I need. Nice. So we've got some little joints on there that I can then attach the cables to. Now the downside is that because it's quite close to the screen, I don't want to accidentally put too much heat onto the screen and damage it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this up on here because I can deal with it melting some plastic. There we go. There we go. Now the downside is, as before, it's really quite a fiddly little bit. So it's really kind of hard to see what you're doing. Unless you had like a microscope. Luckily, I still have a steady hand, or else this would be really hard. Hopefully my timer isn't anywhere near 17 minutes or I'm going to get jogged like mad. Now what happened there is I soldered the select, but because select is above R, what happened is that the right then like desoldered itself because it started to get hot. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do that one again. To be fair, way more success than I had last time. If you remember last time, if you didn't see me do this last time, it's because I jumped through it, because it did take me around about like a good half an hour or so to actually do it. Whereas this is only really taking me like a few minutes. There we go, I've actually done it, yay! Feel happy for me, everybody. Right, so if you're wondering what all of those 3 wires are going to do that I just did the soldering work on, what that's going to do is it's going to allow me, or allow the eye rather, to control the brightness of the screen using 3 buttons. So if she holds select and right, or the R trigger, sorry, if she holds select on the R trigger, it will then bring the brightness up, and if she holds select and the L trigger, it will then bring it down. What's good is that half an hour into my time of making this, because I started at maybe like around about 10:20, 10:30, I'm already at this sort of stage, which is pretty good because it took me 2 hours last time to get here. So, I mean, I must be getting better, right? So I've got to find TP9, which is over there, TP8, which is over there, and TP2, which is there, which I'm guessing TP maybe stands for touch points and not toilet paper, which would be my instant sort of thought. Oh, that is making a lovely sound of cooling down. Right, there we go. So basically, as long as I soldered those 3, then it should at least work in some aspect. Worst case, if I get it backwards, then basically it will just mean that she'll have to press the opposite button to what she thinks to be able to change the brightness. So let's get that sorted out right now. There we go, right. So the downside is these look just as small as they were in the Game Boy Color, so I need to be just as like careful. So let's see where everything goes. So left is on TP9 and right is on TP8. So TP8 is this one, and that's my red cable. TP9 is left, and right is TP8. So TP8 is actually not this cable, it is the cable. So the black cable goes there, because this is backwards. There we go. TP8, which is right, goes here. There we go. is solid, and TP2, which is select, goes there. There we go. That's actually done. I'm still very surprised that I actually managed to do that so quickly. Because, yeah, again, I'm usually not that good with this sort of like soldering jobs. Like, I'm okay, but I'm not like brilliant. So yeah, there you go. That's actually all 3 of them done. So we should be good to have backlight control. Yay! Let's go get some more stuff. I'm putting this away because heat, again, I want to make sure I'm safe. Now, if you weren't doing this for a YouTube video, what you would likely actually have is, you know, a desk. Ah, god damn it. One of my cables just came off after I just finished putting all of them together, so I'm guessing that they are really still relatively fragile compared to what I think, but at least I know how I can get it in. So I just got to resolder that cable, then it should be all good to go. You guys will be back after I've actually put this in so I can concentrate a bit more on that. So I've got this fire torch because I'm doing the battery cables next, and this one is better for dealing with bigger cables, I find. So yeah, we're going to do those real quick. Fire torch because we're doing battery stuff. Yes, I have to shout over this because it's actually kind of loud on this microphone that I have, unless the microphone stopped working again and I'm using the one built into one of these 2 cameras. There we go. So that's one cable done. Now we get to do the other cable. Oh, that is smoking like mad. Woo! That's metal as hell, isn't it? Look at it. Okay, well, it stopped now. Maybe I shouldn't be that excited about fire. Fire. That's the fire song. There we go. Successfully made the battery connect. There we go. Hopefully I haven't gotten it in the way of the buttons, or else I'm going to have to do a little bit of reworking, aren't I? I didn't really think of that. I was too excited about the fire. Let's see how it all fits. It actually seems to fit all right. There we go. Right, let's see. Do the select and start buttons. Yeah, they feel all right. So it looks like I haven't gotten it in the way of anything, which is good. Yes. So let's cable up the display. There we go. So the display is connected up, the board is in, and the only thing I think I need to do is to drop the left and right buttons in, which is pretty cool. Those are the only bits that I don't have that are colored. So I'm going to put in the left and right buttons from the original. Okay, so I need to start the fasteners that hold the board in. So only like maybe start putting them in, but not actually put them all the way in, it says. So I'm going to do that. So let's get those in. Because in the guide it says put these in, but don't screw them all the way in because the battery board has to go in underneath this. So we got to attach a diode to the battery board, which is this thing here. How long has this taken me? At the moment I'm an hour in, so I'm around about the same sort of length of time as my previous build. Oops. Fire torch. Fire. There we go. We have more fire torching. Let's go. So let's begin that. There we go. That was quick. Yep, that's in. Yay. Good. to out plus goes to the battery plus, which is this. So the red wire has to connect to that little cable here. The black wire just connects directly into the out. So it should be a case of like cutting this off quite close and then attaching the wire to it, and then it should be good to go. If you're wondering why I just looked to the right, it's because there was a squirrel again. It's great. There we go. Right, so that's connected in. Just like that. So it should then go in, I'm assuming, here. So then that way the USB port is out in the open and I can power it up. Doop. Right, so that's there. That goes into here. Mario Kart Super Circuit. That. Okay, sweet. I think it doesn't work because it doesn't have a battery plugged in yet. Because I know that this display works because I tested it, and I know that the sound works because I tested that as well. So we're gonna have to check and see what it is that's stopping it. But I have a feeling it's the battery. So we're gonna plug the battery in, and then we're gonna see if it works. I figured out why it is that the buttons on the front felt weird. Basically, I was using one screwdriver bit too small compared to what I thought I needed to use. So now that I've kind of went to the correct sized screwdriver bit, I'm all good to go basically. And I just had to like give it a little bit of extra muscle and it was good to go. So that's all good. I fitted the battery in, which is cool. So I'm just putting in a few more screws to get the board into place correctly. I also realized that I had the USB-C board, the one that lets it charge up. I had that upside down. So I had to put that right way up, and then it was all good afterwards. There we go. So now the D-pad feels a lot nicer. So the last thing to do is I'm going to put the back on, which is a similar sort of like reddish color like that. So one thing I forgot to do is to put the little shield for the cartridge onto the back, which is why I kept this. Exactly the same as the previous one. Basically this comes off and then goes onto that, which is actually, in fact, the screws that exist normally and the screws that exist on this are slightly different, because the screws on this are actually slightly bigger than the screws that you get on Game Boy Advance's shell. So that's something new. There we go. So that feels like it should be in. So let's get a new set of screws and hopefully not get distracted by the squirrels that are outside, like I'm some sort of like animal or something. And we're gonna screw this all together. Well, the bottom's fitting in, and I think the top's fitting in now. I figured it out, everyone. It was a very quick figure out of a situation. Nice. So, yeah. It works. It turns on and back off. So that's what it looks like. Now for the ultimate test, because she has a lot of Japanese Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color games, sorry. I'm going to try out Pokemon Red Japanese on this and see how it looks and show you guys. I'm going to give you a jump cut, it'll be good. Well, Japanese Pokemon Red looks really weird and gives me an error. So, I have a feeling this Japanese Pokemon Red doesn't work, so I'm going to try another game from the Game Boy Advance, well, Game Boy / Game Boy Color, that works. So, I have Pokemon Yellow, and Pokemon Yellow looks amazing on this. Check it out. Now, last time I ended the video by playing this myself, and I think that would be kind of unfair because this is going to be the eyes one. But yeah, this is pretty good. I am very happy with this build, so yeah, I hope she enjoys it. If she doesn't, then I get to have it for Christmas, but the secret is I'm going to make myself one, and it's going to be blue. So we're almost going to be Pokemon rivals, red and blue. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, as the outro, what I shall do is I shall actually leave this playing, so then that way you can just watch it real quick. There you go.